Yeah.
Hello, welcome.
The Count, Sesame Street.
Oh, he's the best Count.
Clearly the greatest Sesame Street character.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
is the best Count. The Viscount. Is he a
Yeah.
Viscount or just a Count?
I don't know if he's a Viscount. I think he's just I think it's just a pub, because he's Count Dracula and he counts or whatever. I don't listen. I'm not 7 anymore. I don't live that life.
Uh, so hello everyone, welcome to the 40k Jason show. I'm one of your hosts, Rob, and I'm joined by Pete the Falcon. Hi Pete, how you doing?
I'm great. I'm awesome. I'm spectacular. I'm exhausted. My cat just knocked over everything on my table and told me to fuck off. So things are just the best. My internet's not working, so I'm hotspotted through my iPhone.
Yes, yeah, your internet is struggling a little bit, but thanks for joining us. I appreciate you making like Pete put a lot of effort in on 3 hours sleep to make sure he joined us. So thank you. Thanks to Pro to Tabletop also for resubscribing, and thanks for everyone in Twitch chat, because if you are watching this back on YouTube or listening to it as a podcast, it's recorded in front of the live studio audience, which is made up of legends such as Nurgle Matthew, Marty 8 Hoy, Dave Frazier, the Wicket Keeper, Ziggy, a whole bunch of people.
Yeah. And if you are watching or listening to this on YouTube, you're probably a terrible human being. So go fuck yourself.
The poor thugs.
Watch us live like you're supposed
to.
The
poor thugs.
The poor thugs. Well, I know that you heavily edit this for YouTube. Sometimes you just don't even upload it at all because you're like, I can't deal with what Peter's saying.
Well, the plan was always to make a separate YouTube channel for the 40k Jason show. But
as they all say.
But I'm just busy / very inefficient with my time. Like a lot of people are like, you're super busy, Rob, and I'm like, I am, and also terribly inefficient with my time. So it's
like me. I mean, I took that hiatus from Warhammer and have come back, and I'm like, okay, I've got like 4 weeks of events to catch up on. It's about what it looks like about 47,000 games I've got to input into my spreadsheets. Let's go play some Storybook Brawl for about 6 hours at work, and then I'll catch up. That works for me.
Yeah, I don't have a process. All I'm trying a new process. I was telling you off air where I'm going to be live for longer. Like, so yesterday, you should try this. I really enjoyed this. Yesterday I had to prep for the stat show. So I just did it with the chat, and I was like, this is what it looks like reading through tournament list submissions. And at the end of it, there was one on BCP, which was just a picture of red. No words, just a picture of red.
Rob, I've been doing this for a long time now, and that is my life. My life is just pictures of red.
What's the worst list submission that you've caught? Have you caught anything terrible?
Oh yeah, like napkins with stuff written on them. Pictures of people's computer screens are my least favorite, and I get that a lot because they're like grainy, blurry, and they've got the lines through them. There's a famous one, which is a picture a guy took of his list on his hotel bed, and there's like a gigantic dildo beside it. I'm pretty sure that was Dayton O'Bray. He's the only person I know that would just do that. Yeah, there's been a lot of good stuff. I just pictures of people's butts. Had that before. Full on picture of someone's butthole. Like there's just a whole hole.
I think
sphincter and everything.
I think we shouldn't continue talking about it because it will just encourage people.
Oh, I know, Rob. And then like you track an event in like Scotland or some other backwoods territory where they've just figured out fire, and like their lists are just god awful things. Like they just downloaded Battlescribe and they've chosen all of the options. So their list is like 700 pages long in the tightest font possible. And listing like literally everything, but also in HTML code format. So you have to like go through the page breaks and shit to be like, okay, did he take Castle and Crow? Why do I even give a shit? Oh, he named all his models as well. Good. I listed all their insurance companies out, next of kin. Yeah, they just, some people go all in on these lists, but they're also just technologically deficient. So it's great.
I mean, it's been a real revolution. I would argue that the Warhammer community being a very not Warhammer, the Warhammer community, that's right, nailed it, being a very tactile community, yeah, i.e., like, yes, it's full of nerds and geeks, of course. There are some absolute computer whiz kids,
The best nerds and
the
geeks.
best nerds and geeks,
Best.
but let's, like, you know, let's call it for what it is. I mean, I would like to think that I'm pretty good at live streaming Warhammer events, and truthfully,
Yes.
I really have no expertise in the field at all. And shouldn't, you know, same with Val. Yeah.
Val has less expertise.
and is doing it for Games Workshop. So I would argue,
who have less expertise than Val. Like, that's how this happens. It's just like real life. Like, I mean, I guess we are in real life. We always just go to the lowest common denominator and we're like, that'll do. That guy's got a camera. That'll do.
That guy has got. I don't know if this is true. Thanks, Tywin, for resubscribing. But I heard, and again, I didn't watch it because I was live streaming myself this weekend, where I had a bunch of technical problems. So I want everyone to be aware that it's an issue. I heard that the commentators were passing the microphone between them.
Yeah, one of the mics went out day one. They couldn't get the telestrator working, which apparently was the big deal. It wasn't the mic, like. There was a lot of, and you know, when you're running an event, this just happens. There's always technical issues day one, sometimes into day two, and yeah, Val handled it like a champ. But yeah, the hosts had to hand the mic back and forth. There's a lot of echo on one mic for a while. There were some other issues with camera setups and things, but they got it worked out. Day three, like, if you're gonna watch the stream, day three is probably the day to watch it, because that's when everything's on firing on all cylinders. You get to see some cool matchups, draw in the semifinals. Okay, yeah,
so I didn't watch anything from this weekend. I was doing coverage of Bobo. Yeah. You did, and you're talking the event you're talking about, and what happened. If you,
sorry. So the GW Austin, the GW Open Austin, the last of the full-on GW Super Majors / Majors, whatever you want to call them, for this year. Yeah, it was a really cool event. We got to see the new meta, and it played out exactly as expected.
Okay, so
also the
what
first.
Does that mean? Like, what?
Sorry.
What was expected?
Well, after the balance update, I said, and I know I'm not the only one. I'm no prescient genius here. Prescient genius. I said Tyranids, Coven Drukari, and Grey Knights are the new all the bads. And then you've got like the Iron Hands list, which North America doesn't understand. So it wasn't going to do anything at GW Austin, and I was right. Shockingly, when you look at the top 16, it's mostly Grey Knights, Nids, and Drukari Coven lists, with a smattering of Knights, because Knights are also pretty good now. They just have some really bad matchups, as they always have had. And yeah, and so we ended up with a semifinal, the top four that were two Nid players running similar-ish lists. Manny Chima running 18 Hive Guard, John Lennon running 11 so that he could actually, or 17 Hive Guard. John Lennon running 11 so he could run, you know, actual tech in his list and not just blindly shoot things off the table. And then you had Anthony Vanilla and Richard Siegler running thick city lists, which are just spamming Talos, Grotesques, and Kronos, which is a boring fucking Drukari list because it's not even fast. It can be, but it's just like it's a damage check. Can you kill all these things that are just going to push towards you?
Yeah. We got the same in Age of Sigmar. The giants, the ones behind me, are just damage checks, and if you can't pass it, it's pretty underwhelming and also dull. Yeah.
Now, luckily, Richard Siegler running it, like, you can watch some actual, like, some interesting plays being made. It was the semifinal and the final were good to watch, particularly the semifinal where John Lennon and Richard Siegler had to play each other, and they drew. They actually played to a 92-92 tie, and they had to go to, I think, kill points as the tiebreaker.
Pete, is there some,
and the look on John Lennon's.
Gossip?
I mean, there are people that are trying to make gossip, but it's it was something you could see on the table as the game was progressing that it was going to be stupid close. And if you listen to the commentators, Nick Nanavati several times when you get to round 3 or so is like, I'm pretty sure these guys are going to tie. Like because they're just.
Isn't Nick their like co-worker slash boss?
Yeah. But it comes down to how they were playing the game and the secondaries they took, where it was like, if they can't deny each other primary, these are the secondary scores they're just going to get. Like there's not going to be any change in anything, because the way that the two lists are designed. And yeah, it played out 92-92 draw. They had to go to, I think, kill points. John Lennon basically cried like a little baby because he lost, as would be expected from a small child playing the game. And then Siegler got to play Manny Chima, who got to kind of roll a fellow named Anthony Vanello, who's a super nice guy, basically a gorilla at the table, despite only being about 4'3". But they had a really good match. Anthony made a big mistake with a Raider, which basically cost him the game. And then Manny and Richard Siegler played a game where Manny could not kill things fast enough, made some errors early on with his how aggressive he played, I think, in my opinion, and Siegler took the win. And so Siegler won all 3 events for of the GW variety this year, and is on track to possibly win the ITC with the minimum amount of events played.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, he's going to play 6 events. He's had 5. He will be in the top 10 of the ITC with just 5 events. So like 1 less event than literally everybody else that's playing right now. He'll be in the top 10. And if he wins LVO, I think even if he top tables LVO, he'll just win the ITC on exactly 6 events.
Wow, interesting. Having come, because I told you pre the show, I know none of this, so my brain's kind of whirring. Number one, congratulations, always the Art of War for winning again. But like,
yeah, I'd like that to stop, guys. If you guys could figure your shit out, that would be great. Like break up or
the 2
wrestle
teams
each
thing.
other. At the table.
Maybe while you were away, I said the 2 teams thing while Val was here, or I might have said to you as well. Do you
you said it with me.
Did you feel pro the 2 teams thing?
Yeah. I do. I think that they need to kick Mark Perry off the team because he doesn't wear shoes in public, and that's just terrible. And then kick John Lennon because he's probably too young to be living in that house anyway. I don't know if he's allowed without parental consent or something. And then, I don't know, take Brad Chester or Jack Harp, because Brad's real old. He doesn't even live with them. They can all live in Brad's house. I'm sure Brad and his like wife won't mind. And they can start their second Art of War house, call it something else. That would be good. Then we'd have competition.
Well, you right now could call them the Art of Draws.
Brad could adopt John, because Brad is old enough. He could adopt John as his son.
That works for me. I enjoy that. Yeah.
Hire Vin Diesel
for that
family.
Joke. That's sad. How do I? So okay, interesting point. You've done commentary several times, as have I. Yeah, as have I.
Yes.
This weekend, for example, my very good friend, someone who I consider to be a personally, deeply good friend of mine, was on the top table playing to win the event, a guy called Darren, and he was up against someone who isn't like one of my best mates, right? But so and thankfully I wasn't commentating that game. But also there's no business relationship between me and Darren either. But I do wonder, because Nick's job is to hire the best people and have the best, because their business model is we're the best at competitive 40k, which unarguably they are. Like in North America at least, because I don't know if Pete's frozen. Oh no, okay.
No, I can stand stock still now. I've learned.
But I do wonder. I do wonder if that's difficult to have as a commentator. Because again, I've listened to Nick. I think he's fantastic as a commentator. I'd like to be very clear about that. So I think that's good, but I feel like there is some conflict of interest, and maybe Nick is a good enough person to step away from that. And I honestly, I wouldn't know the difference between if he was being, I don't even know what bias you, but I assume like pitching them as great players, but they're already great players. So there's probably nothing there.
No, I don't think there is. I listened, and like it's not something that's it is something asked when Nick started doing the commentary. I don't see it. Maybe there's a little bit of like, hey, look how great these guys are, and maybe he omits a little bit with the opponents occasionally, but like the story's still being told. There's still a lot of hype for these games, and he's got Paul Murphy there, and Paul. If you're a competitive player and you listen to Paul, you want to strangle him because he's the John Madden of commentary, right? He's really dumbing everything down. But if you've ever sat in the GW chat for longer than 3 minutes, you know that it's desperately necessary to have somebody to like fully explain what some of the all of the jargon, for that matter, that like someone like Nick uses, right? Because Nick uses a lot of it. A lot of shortcuts, a lot of jargon in regards to stratagems and moves on the table. So having Paul there is great for the person that doesn't play super competitively, that to understand what he's trying to say. He's like a translator, but he also kind of keeps the hype up for everything. He keeps Nick in line. It's a really good dynamic the two of them have. It's kind of like what you did for me that time we did Capital City Bloodbath together. You kept me in line when I would get a little crazy and zone out and start just chatting about, I don't even know what I was doing.
I was pretty unsure as well because my heart rate was 180 BPM.
I mean, it was, yeah. But that was because of how handsome I was, and you were just like,
I saw you,
completely shocked. You were like,
just jumped.
Yeah.
I think actually, news maybe for everyone is that I think maybe me, Pete. Again, this is tentative, penciled in now. But I think maybe me, Pete, and Val may be in IRL streaming Capital City Bloodbath again next year. Again, penciled.
Yep. Darren did reach out to me. At the time he reached out to me, I was kind of on my break, and I was like, I don't know. Hey, man, I don't know what I'm doing with the rest of my life, let alone Warhammer 40K. But I think at this point, barring tragedy, I'll be there. I've confirmed LVO for Val, so I'll be at Las Vegas Open, and I'll probably do Capital City Bloodbath because Ottawa's a really nice place. I've got friends there, so I have no qualms with traveling there versus all the other travel I've done. So.
Yeah, I think this will be a real treat, is what I'm going to say. So I'm very excited, especially with like how everything's gone over the past few years. So I think there'll be a good old time. Again, that's penciled in, which is quite exciting. Yeah. With the Scrivo running.
I'm really hoping I don't have to drink like 18 cups of tea with you and Darren another night, because that green tea, 18 cups. Guys, you want to know how Rob ended up in the hospital? It's because Darren Say decided to give us green tea for 6 hours one night. And didn't tell us we were allowed to say no. He was just kept pouring.
It's insane.
And no one said no, so we just drank all of it.
Yeah, because
he was like,
it's traditional, because we went for we went for,
traditional Chinese dinner. Yeah.
And he was like, it's traditional to have green tea with your food, not water. And I run quite hot as a person, so I drink a lot of water. Stay hydrated, hydro homies, of course. And so I was just necking green tea, and I must have had about 18. Then my heart just popped, basically. So yeah.
You and I both. Like, I didn't know. You and I, we were both like, are we allowed to say no at this point? I guess not, because as soon as the cup would be empty, Darren would be there, and he'd be like snapping fingers at waitresses, and they were bringing us more, and then they brought out that duck, he was complaining about the duck. He was like, this duck is terrible, and I was like, this is a pretty good duck. I don't know. I'm not a duck person.
Me either.
I'm okay with it. And he's just like, screw this duck. Can't believe they gave us this awful duck.
I did not have the duck. I had some vegetables, and it was great.
You did.
Yeah, so Capital City Bloodbath could be really, really fun. And again, shout out. But this is, because the interesting thing is I'm doing commentary out HCML Worlds and WTC. Yeah. And I'm not Henlo, Fire Drake. I'm not invested in either of or any of the teams. I'm invested in the event, but not the teams. One of the things when I spoke to AOS Worlds, they were like, okay, like maybe we had some issues last year, and it would be nice to know that the commentary team isn't going to be biased. And I was like, I don't even like my national team. So like, don't worry.
It's true.
Like
I gave $30 to Team Scotland, but that was just so Innes could get an education, and that was about the extent of it.
Did Boss Baby win an event this weekend?
Boss Baby, Boss Baby, by the way, now. He is now Boss Baby. Or Boss Toddler. Some people are saying he's a grown-up a little bit now that he's a major winner. He won a major in Scotland, Clash of Alba, with that Iron Hands list that I was saying North America doesn't understand yet. Great thing for Innes, obviously in Scotland, so asterisk, not a lot of competition there, you know what I'm saying? Like they got to major status, but
you guys
I'm
literally
sure
have
several
5
of those,
players.
Those animals.
You literally have 5 players. That's it.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not saying that Canada's any
I'm not
better.
talking about
Canada's
Canada.
like
I'm talking about the whole US, northern, like NA. Isn't it just 5 players constantly?
No, I mean that are winning. Yeah. They're just, but that's because like the I think we talked about this once, where I believe now we're at a skill gap level again, where the best players are just better than good players, like really good players, like because the best players are now playing 3 or 4 games a day.
Yeah, like you can't beat that, right?
With each other. And not only that, but they're playing with each other. They're playing with the other best players.
It's a house,
so they're just constantly
full of men constantly playing with each other.
Yeah. I mean, it's like B-Razzers all over again.
Like Animal House, but like way tamer.
You have to say B-Razzers, not Brazzers, so that you don't get dinged.
Who's the who is the what's his name? Oh God, from Animal House. Who's the guy in the toga?
John Belushi.
Who's John Belushi of the Art of War guys?
Who is John Belushi? Oh, who is the John Belushi? I mean, if it weren't for the fact that Brad Chester doesn't live with him, it would be Brad Chester, 100%. Because the rest of the Art of War guys don't have any charisma for the life of them. But I guess Jack Harpster, he's making some big improvements. He's definitely moving up in the world of being able to actually chat with people and hold attention.
I love the chat. The chat are going wild. It's really fun. I got another question for you, Pete. This is again, it's a 40K question, and it's around 40K. Okay. Like, if I've thrown you under the bus for this, you just shout at me. I'm sorry. But like, what do you think about? How do you feel about coaching? I've never got that. I think like
coaching,
40K coaching,
like coaching 40K.
LVO, I think there are some coaching classes you can pay for, or some seminars. And I know that that's something people do that already. And I've talked to a lot of people who said they found it very valuable. Mm-hmm. I wonder what your thoughts are on that.
I think it's cool. I don't have any there are golf coaches, there are chess coaches, there are coaches for literally every fucking thing. So whatever hobby you like, if you like it that much, sure, pay somebody to be better at it.
Should I be a Warhammer streaming coach?
Yeah. You should contact Kicker and Reese and set up a booth at LVO for stream coaching. And like do a seminar, and I bet Val will attend.
Just Val
he needs the help.
like,
It's just Val.
How do I make the mics work every time? And I'm like, okay, buddy, I got you back. Merman UK, no, you have to be good. No, I appreciate that. Thanks. No one wants to coach my world eaters. Oh, I'm sorry. A friend of mine makes more money training people.
Wait till you get.
Sorry, say that again.
Codex. Just wait till you get your new codex supplement.
Yeah, put me in coach. All right. If anyone would like to pay me to be a streaming coach, please do let me know. Because I don't know if I've got loads to teach. Loads.
Good. I mean, I've listened to you bitch about it for hours on end, so I'm sure you could teach it in a mild-mannered way as well.
What are we talking? $5? Maybe like $7.50. Like, I don't know. Like, let's go big leagues. Oh my God. Anyway, I don't have. Has anyone got any questions for Pete in the chat? It'd be really nice to hear some questions from you guys. about literally anything. So I did a weekend of coverage this week. I'm back to back 2 weekends running, Pete. So it's been quite. I had Six Nations, as I told you last week, and then I had Bobo this weekend, which was super fun. And some big news actually, which I don't know if you have one actually. So we've got our first club night at the arena tonight. So the arena being the venue that I'm in. And because we have Warhammer World, obviously, but Warhammer World doesn't have any like clubs. And most of the guys who I know, they have
like DJ clubs.
They've got lots of like clubs, guys holding clubs. But it's our first time. Well, I want to get regular games in with my pals. I oftentimes can't do the weekend because I'm working. And so we're going to set up a club here and have regular club nights. And then if that grows and we end it on a couple of nights, I'm already here Monday evenings and Thursday evenings, but I'm working. But if it does end up growing, it does end up growing. But I'm really excited to just have a place where we all meet up and hang out, and because there's so many dudes and girls and whatever around who are good friends of mine, it would be nice to just stick them all in one place. Would be fun. And do you have that? Do you have do you not have a big local community, or do you guys have a club night?
We used to have like a small community, and we do like Thursday afternoons. We'd hang out in the club, which is the second floor of our Greyhound bus station. But when I lived in Moncton on the East Coast, we had a huge club. Originally, it was in one of the local game stores, and then just as I moved, the community got together and rented out a loft in a building. And redecorated it for Warhammer and wargaming in general. And it was like a whole thing because the great thing about Warhammer communities and why I love it so much is like, it's all sorts of people that can get together. And so, all of a sudden everybody's like, oh yeah, I'm an electrician. I'm a carpenter. I'm a whatever. And you can build such beautiful things together that aren't just Warhammer related. It's a great thing. I love the whole concept. I know that they ended up having to leave that club eventually after several years, but they still hang out all together. It was like my favorite part of the week when I lived in New Brunswick. Every Tuesday night we would get together. We'd play 40K for like 6 hours, depending on when you wanted to show up. And then around 10 or 11 o'clock at night, we'd head to the pub together. And like all of us, and we would just like dominate some tiny bar or restaurant, like 25 of the nerdiest people you ever see, and we're loud as fuck, and I'm just sitting there yelling about Angela Lansbury and making up stories about like the Banana Republic and red-haired people, and just having a ball, just living my best life. Those are great. So I highly recommend everybody that has the ability to start a club or join a club when it comes to Warhammer. It's just a great time. And I mean, it's not like it led to the horse heresy or anything, having something like that.
No, not the Warrior Lodge. No, I've been fairly excited. All day I was like, club. Like I saw some guys that weekend, club. See it, club. And I'm just playing Nathan tonight. Like, but there are some other guys coming to play, which is cool, and I'm genuinely quite excited. So I hope it works. I'm terrible at organising, so the first thing with it being a club is.
You don't need to organize it. Don't just tell people to show up.
That's going to be the idea. That's going to be the idea. So anyway, I just thought I'd ask. But we have got some questions for you now. Someone also said, "Can we come up with a name for the club?" And the answer is no. Okay. What is Pete? No. If the Arwar house had a baby, what would it be like? Oh my God, like 3 men and a baby.
Oh my God, it would be terrible. That baby would die. Like it wouldn't. I shouldn't say that. Mark Perry is a beautiful soul. He would keep that baby alive by himself. He would wean it. It'd be amazing. Art of War baby. Well, I mean, it would definitely be dysfunctional for sure. But man, would it be really good at math? Just be the math baby. Just the best math baby. No social skills. It would just fight alligators and do.
That's all it would be. All right, next question. So from Ziggy, question from Pete: will Games Workshop ever stop the new Codex syndrome and actually reach a more balanced for Games Workshop release state?
Yeah, I'd agree. I think it will. I think that once we get Craft World Eldar out of the way, things will be in a better state. especially with the 3-month balance. The thing that I'm looking most forward to this quarterly balance update, if it's held true, is what 10th edition will look like with it. Because there is a hope that once we start doing balance updates and they start taking a hard look at the competitive scene, that will extend to how the codexes are actually written to a degree.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, it's a bit problematic because I don't want to attribute it, but it does feel like with Broken Realms, or like Psychic Awakening, or the Gathering Storm, it does feel like they almost accidentally break their game, and when it's repeated accidentally, eventually you're like, it's like because it kind of needs to dip. Oh, 9th edition's so rubbish now. Oh, thank you for 10th edition. You know, it does feel that way. But it would be like if they understood that a more consistent. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't make more money. Maybe it is better to drop and then do big peak. Like,
I mean, like we've talked about this before. Magic the Gathering does that, right? Like they'll release sets that are intentionally just not as good as other sets, so that when they release the next one that's amazing, people get like super hyped for it. So it's not like it's an unknown quantity in the community. But that being said, I honestly just think they write rules and think this is cool. Let's put it in a book, and then somebody's like, "Yeah, that was cool."
Yeah.
The fuck. You broke our game again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's to me, that's how it is. I don't feel like there's anything in regards to money or malice when a lot of this stuff is done. I think a lot of it is just people are like, that sounds cool. Let's put it in a book because it sounds like how I would write them in a novel or whatever. And then you're like, well, you didn't do that for Necrons, did you? Maybe write a Necron book first and then make that codex.
I'm all for the balance updates. I've said this, and I've gushed over it as much as I can. And maybe and actually on reflection, it actually wasn't that big a change, truthfully. Yeah. Okay. Another question that's come in the chat from Warhammer Rob, one of my favorite people, great guy, part of the stats team that I have along with Ziggy, so he's the inputter basically, and then Ziggy's the collator. So between them, they're both you, Pete. And then have you seen the new call-out video from Little Marathi? So is this thing 40k? So in Age of Sigmar, a couple of the guys over in the US specifically, and Little Marathi is actually a woman, sorry, apologies, has they've started doing call-out videos before tournaments. The problem is that it isn't especially in the Age of Sigmar Northern American meta. I mean, literally anyone can win with literally anything. It's a full it's Pete, it's wild. I used to be like, oh, that Australian meta is pretty wild, but the NA meta for Age of Sigmar is gobsmacking. Is all I'm going to describe it as, gobsmacking. You had like a 28% win rate army go 4-1, which and to give you an example, someone ran almost the same list here in the UK at an event of the weekend, went 0-5, and not I lost a couple of games. It was like, no, Rob, I had a really hard 0-5. It was a really rough weekend. Anyway, but yeah, so they've started doing call-out videos where they'll record a video and they'll be like, you're going down at the next, like wrestling, like WWE wrestling.
We don't do that, and we should.
You should. Do you think that you could? The problem isn't it just the Art of War guys making videos towards each other?
In North America, that's exactly what it would end up being. I mean, we do have other people that make videos, but they don't often tell. We could do it. We should do it. But call-outs are a way bigger thing in the UK and Europe. Whenever I bring up that's just a thing that you can challenge people at events, which happens all the time in Europe, for your first round matchup, it blows up American brains. They just can't compete. They're like, what? I can pick my pairing round one? I'm going to cheat the system. That's the first thing that goes through their head. Not like this is a fun thing. It's like, I can do that? Well, I'm going to call out the shittiest player I know to get an easy round one. And it's like there's no immediate oh, this will be super fun and exciting. That's just the first place their brain goes is how do you make this work if you can just do whatever you want? This is anarchy.
Yeah, I would like to see more of it. I think it's very funny.
I do too. I love anarchy. I love just like a breakdown of societal norms.
Me too. Me bloody too. I think anyway. I thought it would be fun. Because
Yeah.
but it's happening more and more in the single community, which is pretty cool. And doesn't take much, right? We've all got phones on our cameras. Basically, I can at my how to stream and make call out video seminar coming soon. I too can teach you.
LVO 2022.
I too can teach you how to make a call out video with backing track. My favorite thing is, actually, I've seen a couple of guys making backing things, and this like they still don't. They can't like full frame a picture. Like it's amazing. Like they should just get their kids to do it. Just say to their kid, "Hey kid, like you understand this TikTok phone, yeah? I want to make a call out vid.
Yep.
Help me, yeah." And their kid will be like, "This is lame, Dad. I don't like it, but let's do this."
I would get my 4-year-old to do it in a second. She would just nail it, fucking first time. Okay, Dad.
Yeah.
First time.
If you were gonna call out anyone, Pete, in the world, like if you were gonna go play at a tournament, like who's like, can I have three people that you would love to like call out and play at a tournament? Like, is there?
Oh, I have to play them afterwards? Because I mean, I'd call out so
I
many
know
people.
that.
But
I know that. Pete's call out corner, I think, should be a regular 40k adjacent section.
Yeah. Who would I call out? Holy fuck. I'd call out Scrivo because I know I'd win that game.
Too easy.
It would just make me
Too
feel
easy.
better. Too easy. Plus, he's a nice fellow. He's got really nice hair. Mom jeans are an issue. He needs to get that looked at. His fashion sense, but like nails the hair thing every time. So I just love to look at him across the table, and beat him at 40k. John Quinnell from Grim After Dark, because I played him. He's just a pleasure. We would talk about like old movies the entire time, and I would have a ball. Also winning that game because he's also not good at 40k, so that would be good for my morale. It was 3, right? I don't have to go really in depth here. My third. I mean, I could go with the easy route and say Val because I'd also win that game. But I probably shouldn't. I probably should pick somebody that would beat the shit out of me at 40k. I'd probably take. I'd call out Richard Siegler just to get my arse handed to me and actually learn something about 40k versus what would happen against Scrivo and John. So 2 Johns and a Richard would be my call outs.
All right. Okay.
And I'd be really rude to Siegler. Like I would not be polite about the call out either. I would just lay him out.
What you're going to LVO though, right? Siegler's also.
I'm gonna call him out at LVO.
Siegler's also going to LVO. I'm saying, why don't we organize a friendly? Why don't you call him out, and then we organize a friendly game?
Okay.
Like, let's do it.
Like, not that I have any time when I'm in Las Vegas ever.
If anyone is in any way a video, I mean I am, but like if anyone's a video editor and would like to take to Twitter to call, I don't think Siegel is on Twitter. Is Siegel anywhere?
Art of War is. Art of War is, so he'll know. He's connected to the web. They call him the machine. Like there's a whole thing about like Johnny Mnemonic situation going on.
Do you think Siegel's got any weak points that you could pick out for the call out vid?
Just his physical body. Like I think I could break him. I think I could just Bane versus Batman. I'd break the bat.
I'd break the bat.
The only.
Wouldn't that also be? Oh my god, I'm just picturing it now. That's so fantastic. I think
people want me to challenge Winters, but like Winters is the nicest fellow. I'd feel terrible playing Winters. The whole time I'd be like, man, I'm really sorry we're playing this game.
And then he'd win, and you'd be like, oh boy.
Oh boy, I made a boo-boo. Yeah. Oopsie doopsie.
Oopsie doo. Wait,
Oopsie
have you
doopsie.
vlogged this event as well while also winning? Like, what the fuck?
This is my house.
And then you're like, also, Winter Sex are beating me. Also, this table looks really nice. Like, I also painted it while we were playing. I'm doing a lot. I'm multitasking.
Yeah, he's doing a lot. Yeah, this is sponsored, but he's doing a whole thing. Like,
Plus, you would lose. Yeah, it's fantastic. Okay, I don't know who I would call out for. I'd like to play Neil Kerr at 40k. That'd be good.
oh, I think that would be pleasant. Neil Kerr playing against somebody that actually knows the rules of 40k is always fun.
Then
Always.
Then who else would I call out? I fucking love Innes Wilson. I'd really like to call him out. That would be great. But I can't call him out because he's too like. There's very few people who I genuinely am concerned about, and Innes Wilson is one of those people where I'm like, oh boy, that boss baby's got my like. I don't want all of that trained at me, like.
Yeah, Boss Baby's got a lot going on. Boss Baby's got a lot, and I wouldn't understand the game if I played him. Like I'd be like, sure. Because he'd be trying to talk about intent and stuff, and I'd be like, "That's Scottish brogue. I have no idea what you're saying." I'm sure. Sure. You'd be like, "Oh, I want you to do that." I'm like, "Cool. You did it."
I'd also like to call out Josh Diffie. I'd like to play Josh Diffie. Yeah, because I know Josh has like been super busy at the minute, so I know he hasn't got enough time to prep, and that'll trigger him, and he'll be like, "Oh, I really need."
Oh
yeah.
Oh yeah. No, you would. Like, I think it would be a super testy game, because he's not a good person when it comes to 40k. I think he's terrible. I'm not basing this off anything, but because I want to start shit. I think that Josh Diffie, when he plays 40k, is a fucking animal, and he's a monster, and he used to be the best, and now he's got a chip on his shoulder because there's like 18 other people in Australia that are better than him, and there are only 19 players in Australia. So like he's down on his luck when it comes to 40k skill now. Like they booted him off Team Australia. Team New Zealand doesn't want to have anything to do with him, and they only play Imperial Knights. Like they can't even set up a team. So like he's in rough shape.
All right, so that's my two, Neil and Diffie. I'd also asked it.
I'm gonna get so many messages after the show.
I'd also message Diffie and say that I'd like to track the score on ITC battles.
Not like this.
Not like this.
Not like this. Can we use ITC Battle Lab for this?
That would be really fun. I don't know who my third would be. I'd like to play Logan because that would be funny. That would be very funny.
Logan would be funny.
Because
the one person that provides on Spice Center.
Also, Logan. Also Logan. Quite famously, is also a grime DJ. So actually, very used to call outs. So I feel like the slapback call out would be horrific. Like several different grime artists telling me they're going to shoot up my house. And
they've got nothing better.
Some really solid drill lyrics about me, like not getting a plane to Marbella or whatever the one between Stormzy and Thingy was. So all of that, like I think maybe just for the slapback, I would have to challenge Logan. Because I think it would be exceptional, truthfully. So that would be really good. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, 10 points for a call out. That'd be good. Is there anything else you'd like to see, Pete? Like generally that you think like, because these 40k events, especially coming from NA, for me at the moment feels like it's very much like a 5-person conversation.
I really want to see an actual factual invitational that's not made by somebody. Like every time they do an invitational, it's like 3 good players and then the dude's best friends, right? And that's it, right? Like the old Nova invitationals, the Zax invitationals. I want to see an actual factual invitational. There's a GW invitational coming up in 2 weeks. They announced it at GW Austin. Unfortunately, they gave everybody 2 weeks notice. So like I shouldn't say none. Most of the best players that they wanted to attend can't because, nobody can just drop everything and show up in an event in 2 weeks. But they're going to be showing off new rules and new points. I don't know if you heard that.
Where the hell have they said this?
That's the rumor. Well, maybe they didn't.
Delete the stream. Everyone, if you're watching this, silence. Say nothing.
No, I've heard through the grapevine, not through anybody official, and I'm actually serious. I haven't heard through this but I've heard through the grapevine from people that so they announced at the end of GW Austin.
Manny talked about it on Insta. Manny Chima told us.
16 players have been picked. I believe it's 16. It might be 8. Have been picked to do a GW Invitational in 2 weeks. They tried to get like the winners of the events for best overall and best general, which there was only one best general. So they kind of cut down because Richard Siegler couldn't attend. A lot of the top players couldn't attend because they gave them such short notice. But Jack Harpster, who came in second and third in 2 of the events, something to that effect. Brad Chester's going to be in it. James Kelling, who would come in, I believe, 5th at one of the events, will be there. So there's a few good players. It's a decent lineup. If they had given them more time, this could have been a way bigger thing, and I wish they had. But the scuttlebutt is that they are going to be given lists. They aren't allowed to make the lists themselves. So Mike Brandt or somebody is making 8 unique lists that the players will be expected to play at the event. They will be given them slightly in advance so that they can practice them. And it's going to use new points from the Munitorum field manual that isn't released yet. And so it will be, it's going, and also they're going to be using new missions rumored from the 2022 chapter approved book.
Okay, so just basically a big way to get people to tune into their Twitch stream. So like a lot of bait. Okay, yeah. All right. I mean, good.
And I actually like it. I think it's a great idea, except this, why did you only give most people 2 weeks notice? Like, set this up in a month. The only reason why I can think of is that we're getting that Munitorum field manual in like January. So they want to do this in advance of that. But like, the concept is great. If they could have set up like a much earlier time frame and been like, just pick the 16 best players, and then when 16 says no, take 17. Just do it that way. Like, we could have something like that. Because the thing I hate about invitationals, like I was trying to say, is it's like 3 really good players, and then it's 5 to 13 of whoever's running the event's best friends, right? And then maybe some streamer, they'll be like, yeah, hey Falcon, do you want to come attend this event? And I'll be like, no, I'm not good at 40K. Why would you want me to?
To give you a real indication of how much the maybe SN scraped the barrel a tad, they invited me. So, I mean, come on.
Zach messaged me. He was like, would you love to come? And I'd be like, I would love to come. You should not. Right? Do not invite literally anybody else. Literally.
That's what I told him.
I mean, you'll have a laugh when my pants.
Sorry, say that again.
But everyone will have a laugh when my pants fall down at the table, but it's not going to be
That's what I said. I said no. I'm not the person to invite. This is a huge mistake. Don't do this. Don't do that. That's not my skill sets, my friend. Anyway, and I'm too busy obviously prepping for the coaching and also call out video coaching service that I now do, which is, I mean, I should charge based on how many people see it. Anyway, that sounds fun. That does sound fun. I do sound fun. I would like if there could be filmed well, would be great, but should be a thing. But whatever, that's a side note.
But that's it. It's an interesting thing I'm excited about. I know people wanted rumors. I saw that in the chat.
Wow.
So there you go. There's a rumor.
That's a big
one. It's a big one. Do you want another big rumor?
Yeah.
Do you want another one? Do you want? Here's another one. And this one, by the way, just making this up. I'm gonna say it right now. Making this up. No one important has told me anything. What if, I want you guys to think this through. What if in a future chapter approved, you could only take one subfaction for
I've heard this. I've heard this rumor myself. So like, same. I'm very pro it. I hate the multiple subfactions. Like 150% agree. Yeah, I don't think any.
So I think it would fix a lot of problems for certain armies as well. It's a very good balancing act on top of making it easier for newer players to not have to be like, which of these Dread Knights is Prescient Brethren and which one is Sword Bearers? Again, please explain. Just not letting you do that, with the exception of Drukari having one Coven, one Cult, one dingamabobber that my brain's farting out right now.
I do know what you mean. I do know what you mean.
Cabal.
Like, and it's also actually really like, so we've had that in Age of Sigmar for a very long time. Like, no multiple sub-factions. It's actually never been possible to ever do that, actually. And actually, it's really, really telling. Like, it's quite fun because instantly the list changes in your head as soon as you say the sub-faction. So actually, even when we do tournament coverage, I don't even put the main faction in the overlay now. When we do tournament coverage, I only put the sub-faction. You know, so like if you're playing Calibron or you're playing Hagnar, like when you're playing Daughters of Cain, like because it's more telling, it kind of makes more sense. Like because the way like Seraphon play like Thunder Lizard versus like any like fucking whatever it's called, Fangs or something, like those are like drastically different. Do you think the sub factions have enough width between them, truthfully?
For most books right now, no.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But that being said, I think it's a step in the right direction. It's like a subtle nerf to a lot of armies. Some that don't need nerfs, really, to be honest. But like I think it goes a long way to making the game simpler at a list design level and at a play level. And that's, I think, a big thing. I don't think like the game is complicated enough as it is. So taking the step back is, I think, really good. It's going to cause less gamey combos that I'm sure the rules writers just don't fully understand or expect when they make them, type thing. Like, oh, I never thought that you would take both Kronos and Kraken in a list. Who would do that? And so, well, you know, literally everybody would do that. Right?
Like all of them.
So.
I'm super pro this. I think this is excellent. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, and Glarg points out the DE nerf would be, and it's a big nerf.
Oh, good.
But anyway,
good. Like, fuck them. My other question is actually because you said it was obviously that would be, how would you feel about like painting? Because like I think the reason people sometimes feel a little bit concerned about sub-factions being enforced is they're like, oh well, okay, like, you know, what do I do about my army? But like, I guess the answer is to paint them up as your own homebrew colorings. So because if the sub-faction power levels change over like 3 years, it's not inconceivable that you play the same army over a decade, pretty much. Like you're like, oh, I mainly play this, but actually they're not very good at the minute, so they're on the shelf for a year or two. Like it makes sense to not paint them as the actual sub-faction, right?
Yeah. I mean, and here's the thing: when it comes to 40k, like the only time painting as a sub-faction comes up is Space Marines, right? Like literally any other faction, no one says boo about it, right? If your orcs are painted goths and you run them as snakebites, like there's like 3 people in the room, in a room of 600, that'll be like, oh, those are goths, right? It's only Marines because we know the Marine colors. That's literally the only one. So just let them do it, guys. Just get over it. Especially if there's only one. Like, you can't be confused. You can't look at a table and be like, those guys are red. They're not Iron Hands. Just fucking do it. They're Iron Hands. Okay? That guy's running like Althway Eldar, but they're clearly not Althway. Who cares? Just let them live their best life.
I agree.
All right? If I'm running Sanguinary Guard on the table and I'm like, these are my Iron Hands, you can tell me to, pound sand. But like, don't. When my red intercessors walk up the board, just be like, cool. Cool.
Yeah,
they're what they are. They're what you say they are.
It just seems dumb to me personally. It just feels dumb. And it has always felt dumb. And I think anyone who tries to enforce it is weird, especially because you can just make it up. Which has been fun. Oh, Pete, we're getting close to time, which is.
We are getting close to time.
Have you got any final thoughts, or do you want to do any call-outs before we head out today? Has anyone got any final?
I've called out so many people today, Rob. Like last week, I had such touching DMs and messages right after our show for like several days. This week, it's not going to be nice. It's just going to be like, what did you say about me?
About me?
Fucking... Yeah. I guess it would. Most people that do this are super like passive aggressive, so they would just cry a lot about it, I guess. But yeah, I don't have any more. I can't call out any more people. I've hit my limit for the day. But yeah, thanks for having me again, Rob. You're a beautiful soul. Thanks, chat, for chatting. Craft World Eldar are going to be in the same codex as Harlequins. So everyone will need to deal with that fact. And that's all I want to say.
Okay, let's go. Alfred Windrunner, thank you for raiding us with a party of 7 people. One of my favorite
Seven people, my favorite number.
One of my favorite content creators, Alfred Windrunner. You carry on. Created all that great content.
Keep on
keeping on. This has been really good. I don't think have we got any events coming up this weekend. I told you about the poop pipe situation locally.
Yes, poop pipes everywhere.
That's
just
the final bit. I don't know if anyone knows
pipes.
this, but Games Workshop is actually currently closed. Their business is shut down because they've had a waste pipe explode in the middle of a tournament. So between Saturday night and Sunday, a waste pipe exploded. Apparently, it was raining feces. And on the Sunday, they had to kick out the content creators, not the content creators. God damn it! They had to kick out the players of the tournament and be like, "You can't play this Sunday. I apologize. Out you go. Off you go." And they might still be closed this coming weekend, which is pretty crazy.
That is exciting. That is exciting. I see someone mentioned that I recommended Arcane last weekend. I forgot I did that. I will recommend it again. I finished it with my wife 2 days ago. Such a good show. Dayton O'Bray tweeted, I think last week, why didn't GW do what Riot has done with Arcane? Why didn't they just do Warhammer TV this way? And he's 100% right, because that show fucking is incredible. The animation styles, the way they changed it up in episode 7. If you haven't gotten to episode 7 yet, I'm not going to spoil anything, but they change up the animation a little bit, and it's just I was almost in tears, and not because of how emotionally invested I was in the story, which I was, but because of how beautiful it was. Visually stunning, on top of being an excellent story, well written, across the board. Holy shit, if you haven't watched it and you're a nerd like me, just watch it. You don't need to know anything about League of Legends. If you do, it does give you a bit of a chub occasionally. It makes you a little excited because they do a little bit of fan service. They definitely do that. But if you don't, my wife knows diddly shit about League of Legends, and she was literally on the edge of her seat. I've never seen her like that for a TV show.
Not to call her out, but your wife's also been doing some graphic design recently.
Yeah, she's been doing it for 20 years, but she recently kind of picked up hard with Final Fantasy 14, because she and I started playing that together as a way to bond over COVID, and we've been playing it a lot. She's super into it, and she can smash out these 10-minute sketches, fully shaded and everything, that I'm just when it comes to art, I'm a potato, as I tweeted. So stick figures are my best thing. I can draw a pretty mean cat or a pig, given enough time. But even then,
I messaged my partner the other day, and I was because I'm painting this slan. There you go for everyone at home looking at my slan, although you can't see some part of it because it's green, because the green screen.
I don't see the rainbow face, so
but
I'm not following the proper procedure.
I said, what shall I do on the cloak? And she was like, if you try some non-metallic gold, and I was like, baby, I've got potato hands. That's a terrible suggestion. That's a terrible suggestion.
Don't do that. It's that masterclass shit all over again. I'm watching those videos, and they're like, here's how you paint blue, and I'm like, that's not okay. That's not how you do that. That's not okay.
But it's really exciting to see your artwork. Okay. I retweeted it. So if you guys do want to go check out the Falcon's wife's artwork, because she's putting some stuff online, right?
Yeah, she does commission work and stuff for people that play World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy and stuff. And so she was, but yeah, she got really into FF14 and was one night I'm just going to pound out a couple sketches, and I thought they were great given how quick she did them.
Yep. And just to touch base again on Arcane, and I know we got to wrap it up now, so we will. Amazing. But also you're right. The precedent, it should be that they should put content in very accessible places where we can all just go watch it. We all already have Netflix. Just put it there, and then get more customers, right?
Get more eyes, get more customers. Live that dream. Holy potato. God, is that a good series. And I can't wait for season 2. I cannot wait. They need to release it tomorrow.
Right.
Anyway.
It's been lovely hanging out with everyone. You've been great, Pete. You've been wonderful as always. Thanks for hanging out and chatting about all sorts. By the way, if you feel offended by Pete's call out, I back him 233%. Scrivo, Richard Siegler, Val,
Who else did I call out? Winters.
Most of the Art of War guys, definitely.
Most of the Art of War guys, except Jack Harpster. He's
guy from
actually
Grim After
nice.
Dark.
Guy from Grim After Dark, John. Danny McDevitt, I didn't call him out, but I should have because he's a piece of shit. Diffie is really bad at Warhammer. Adam Camilleri talks too fast. I hate but love all of you. Richard Siegler, I will break you like Bane broke the bat.
Thanks for tuning into the 40k Jason show. I shout out the chat. I'll be back again tomorrow. And obviously, if you like 40k, we'll be back for the 40k Spice Center on Thursday, which should be pretty good, truthfully.
It should be good. Is Logan going to be there?
Be there?
Then it'll be good.
Hey, Scrivo and Tom are amazing as well, so I'm looking forward to that.
Scrivo is handsome. Yeah. Tom is Tom.
Tom's a treasure. Tom's an unbelievable treasure.
Tom is a treasure. I give him a lot of shit for no reason, and I shouldn't because Tom is a treasure.
He is a treasure.
But...
He's always like not sure, but he's great. Thanks, chat. Love you loads.
You're a good man.